Hey everyone, my name is Elizabeth Frey and I'm here to do the Mindset360 by Asia Mas Roberts. And well, if you know, I am a twin sister and I'm an artist, as you can tell. And for my twin sister, she is real estate. She's working in real estate, and she's also doing sales vision. And sales vision is basically a place where you learn how to use online strategies to market your business. So I'm going to talk to you about the Mindset 360, the 12-step mindset program by her. I've seen her video, and she talks about how she was sexually abused when she was how old was she? Maybe when she was younger. I knew that because I was also sexually abused, but I think we were sexually abused at the same time. But funny how she says she goes to foster homes. I wouldn't put it that way because for me, I would say that I was going through babysitter. So I don't know, maybe in US the different words, but for me I go to babysitter. But we're both twins, you see, so we are both at the same time, we are both going from houses to houses. So now we got that right. Yeah, so, and she was mentioning about how she needs to forgive herself because at the age of 3 years old, our parents left us. And for me, I have problems with my dad for leaving, not leaving us, but he took care of us. But I had more problems with my dad, and she has more problems with my mom. So at 21 years old, she forgave my mom. For me, at 21 years old, where was I? I think I was 23 years old, and I was also doing real estate. And when I was doing real estate, I was doing very well. I was earning 5-figure a month. But then after that, I went to self-help development courses, and then yeah. So anyway, where was I? So I was in real estate, and I also went through, this emotional roller coaster. I was earning 5-figure a month, but then I couldn't hold the money because I spent it all on self-development, and I only bought myself at that time an LV bag, and that was the only splurge I had on myself. But the rest, I always had. I kind of spent it all on T. Harv Eker and Tony Robbins, and I spent thousands of dollars towards that training courses. So it's funny because my twin sister, she's in real estate, and I was also in real estate, but I was in real estate at 23 years old. She was in real estate like only just 5 years ago or something. But yeah, anyway, so back to the story about how she got sexually abused and how she wants to forgive herself, and how she says that at the age of 3 years old, her mom abandoned her, which is my mom too. But the funny thing is, I don't have problems with my mom. I have problem with my dad. I don't know, we're twins, but we're kind of different, I have problems with my dad, but she has problem with my mom. Not sure why. So back to the story about my sister. Yeah, so I had like problems with my dad, and she has problem with her mom, which is my mom. And so I have to tell you the whole story, even it's gonna be a bit long. So just stay with me right now. When I was in real estate, at the point of time, I was reading this book called Think and Grow Rich, The Secrets, and Millionaire Mindset by T. Harv Eker, and also Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I was reading all this book about self-helps and business stuff. And so, um, and then what happened was that after I went to real estate, I was very successful. I was earning 5 figure a month. The first month was 20 plus thousand. I remembered it was 3 point. The owner asked for 3.6 million, but no, the owner asked for 3.4 million, but I closed it at, oh, I cannot remember. I guess, yeah, I got him a little bit higher price. So anyway, and when I got the money, I had the money in my hand. He came to give me this money, and I was like not happy at all. I was like, okay, so I have $26,000. Why I'm not feeling happy? So I kind of like thought like I needed to do something, and I went through all these courses by T. Harv Eker, and I spent like all my money there, basically learning courses of the courses. And I think I spent about a 5 figure sum as well, trying to learn all the leadership skills. And so I spent a lot. And yeah, and then so during that time, when I went through the course, they were asking us, okay, oh, what is your dream husband would be? What is your dream life? Think of this as an exercise to know what kind of a life that you want. So I wrote down all my points about what kind of a husband I wanted and stuff like that. And at the point of time, I was with this guy, and he was a Jewish guy, and I was kind of half Christian, half Muslim, because I was a Muslim and then I was a Christian. So I know Jesus, but I don't really know that Jesus as Daddy God. I mean, I didn't know Daddy God. I know Jesus, but I didn't know Daddy God. And so I was with this Jewish guy, and a friend of mine came to me and say, hey Mas, you're not going to get married to this old Jewish guy, but you're going to get married to a young guy who's about your age or younger than you, and he's going to be a Christian. And so I was like, I had this prophecy from, his name is Mike Reyes, and from Mike, and he was prophesying over me, and I was like, yeah, right, as if that will come true, because at that point of time I was with this Jewish guy, and I don't see any like inkling that I would get married to a Christian guy. So I wanted to get married to this Jewish guy. I really wanted to get married to this Jewish guy, but he says things like, oh, when you have one time when we went to his house, like he wanted to buy a house, and then he said, hold on. So one time this Jewish boyfriend of mine, he wanted to buy a house, and then I envisioned myself, being with him. So, but at the same time, I was protecting my heart, and he said, one day when you have your own house and when you have your own family, you will know what to buy for your own house. And I was like, I feel really painful with his words, because he seems to do everything for me. He was everything I wanted of a guy, and he was lovely and make me laugh and always pick me up from work. And even though like that time I was clubbing all the time, he go to, well, I don't know whether you guys use the word clubs, but I was a party animal, and he was always picking me up, and at late night hours. So he was kind of doing the job of a dad. And he's really old, by the way. He was like 30 years older than me. And so yeah, so anyway, so I was with this guy, and at the same time, I knew that it's not the guy for me. I know that he was not the guy for me. I know that he's not, like, I want him to be my husband. But then when I went to the self-help courses, I had a list of things I want of a husband, but he's not the one that I want. And my friend's prophecy, he kept on coming into me and say, you will marry a Christian guy. And then so while I date him, this Jewish guy, I was also dating other guys as well. So I was, dating a lot of other guys behind his back. I think he knows it, but he doesn't mind because he wants me to be happy. And then, so what happened was, the Lord, one time, I was crying, and I don't know, it was just like the time, at that point of time, I after the 6th month, I couldn't do real estate anymore. I was just exhausted. I was exhausted. I couldn't do anything anymore, and I was just crying and crying, and God was healing me of my heart pain. Daddy God, I would say Daddy God was healing me of my heart pain. He wanted to tell me that you're worthy of love, and that I need to cut myself off from this Jewish guy. Some of you who are watching this, you know who it is. But yeah, you can send this video to him as well. But yeah, so what happened? Yeah. So and then I was where was I? Yeah. So God told me to break off with him, right? And then so I took all my clothes and stuff, and I bring it back to my house. And then the last thing was that we parted very nicely, me and this Jewish guy. Even up till now we're friends, but I hardly contact with him because I'm in Switzerland. But anyway, yeah, it took me months, in preparation to get over him. I had to heal myself. I was crying, and then God told me to break off with him. And then after that, God says that you need to break off all contacts. This guy, he was practically paying for my handphone bills, and because of he paid for my handphone bills, God gave me this sermon, something like to do with you have to cut all ties with this guy, really cut all ties. And then so what happened was, when God told me to cut all ties, I was so afraid. I was scared that I will not make it, because I've been I'm a self-help woman. I always work really hard ever since I was young, 16 years old. If you have seen my previous video, I told you about how my dad was always not having enough money. So I was working since I was 15 years old, at first at McDonald's and stuff, but eventually I do something else. But the point is that I was always working, working to better myself, working and very hardworking. I'm just a very hardworking girl. And so when God told me to cut all ties with him, I was so afraid because I do not know where the money will come. And then so I called Tammy. Oh yeah. So then and then God gave me that strength to cut all the ties I had with him. And so what happened? So I cut off all ties, and then what happened? Yeah, then I had this anger, I saw sin was so wrong. Sin is so wrong. I was living in sin, and as much as that Jewish guy loved me, but what he was doing was wrong also. It was sin. We were living in sin. So I could see sin for the first time, how bad it is. It would affect other people, my life, and so I told myself I'm gonna be a nun or something. I'm not gonna get married. I don't care about the prophecy. I will not get married anymore. And then so funny thing is, after 3 months, I met my husband. So but later I'll tell you the story too. And then so I cut off my thing, and then God say, I am Jehovah Jireh, I can provide for you. And in the meantime, my other friend, his name is Kenneth Cole, he was chasing after me for, to give me money. And I was like, no, don't give me money. Like, I ran away from him, and then so I was running away from him for 6 months, prior to breaking off with this Jewish guy. And then after I broke off with this Jewish guy, somehow he came over and say, hey, Mas, that time my name was also Mas, okay? My name is Masita, okay, the Malay name. But then God changed and give me the name Elizabeth Frey. So then God gave me this guy, Kenneth Cole, to give me money. And I remember the money that he gave me was like $7,777 or something like this, like a lot of seven. That's the number of perfection. So, and then so God says to leave this man, the Jewish guy, and then go to Bible school. And he was chasing after me. God chased after me. You know how, like, recently I have one of my friend Tim, he's doing live videos recently, and he talked about predetermined something, don't know what. And he talked about free will and predetermined. I don't know, you have to ask Tim. Anyway, if you want to know more about Tim, you have to message me. Oh, I have something food there. But yeah, so God was chasing after me to say, take this money and go to Bible school. I didn't know where I would get the money from. And I had no boyfriend, nothing at that point of time. I was always dependent on the guy anyway. So it was something that is, like, that's why I had to run away from Kenneth, because I scared he was after me, but sorry Kenneth, but that was my thinking back then. Now you know. But I was running away because I didn't want to accept the money, because I didn't believe that people would just give me money out of nothing. Okay, wait.